Without a doubt, Bandai's Gunpla is the most popular brand of mecha model kits on the market, and for a good reason. They're awesome. But not every Gundam kit is equal, so it can be difficult to make the right decisions when choosing a kit. First off, there's multiple lines of kits, with the main four being high grade, real grade, master grade, and perfect grade tops the pile as Bandai's premium large-scale Gundam model kit. These kits come out relatively infrequently, so big changes occur between each and every release, from 1998's Granddaddy Gundam to recent years' releases, which have evolved into LED-lit centerpieces. So where is a good place to start for the budding perfect grade collector? My recommendation is the Perfect Grade Strike, a satisfying PG kit that won't raid your wallet. And speaking of raid, this video right here was sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. One of the most ambitious RPG projects of 2019 has just been released, and it can only be really compared with the biggest PC and console titles. And the absolutely most awesome thing about it? It's totally free. Raid is rocking all the best features you'd expect from a brand new RPG title, like an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and hundreds of champions to collect and customize. And over 10 million players worldwide have already downloaded the game in less than 6 months. I can honestly say I was shocked by how awesome the character models in this game are. In Raid, you have the ability to personally customize your champions, choosing their artifacts and creating a unique mastery build for each one of them. For me, this right here is the absolute perfect game for sitting down to build with. Choose your champions, choose a dungeon, hit that 2x speed, the auto button, and just grind those dungeons and power up your awesome champions. With over 300,000 reviews, Raid has an almost perfect score on the Play Store. The game is growing super fast, and the highly anticipated new Faction Wars feature is now live. And on top of all of that, there is a new awesome rewards program for new players. Get a new daily login reward for the first 90 days in-game. And also you can find me in-game under, surprise surprise, Mecha Gaikotsu. So what are you waiting for? Go to the video description, click on the special links, and you will get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. Now on to the review. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm taking a look at something that I've had in my collection for quite some time. That's why there's no box in this intro right here. This is the Perfect Grade Strike. So honestly, I haven't done all that many perfect grade reviews. It's something I want to get back into. I want to build them all, see what they're all like. But when it comes to perfect grades, they are quite a bit of a mixed bag. We got some absolutely awesome ones. We've got some not so great ones. We've got some extremely expensive ones, and that's just from the handful that I've taken a look at. However, when it comes to awesome middle ground of affordability, big and awesome, nothing quite ticks all of the boxes like the Strike right here. Now let's check it out. So anyway, this right here is what you get once you get this out of the box and snap it together. Once again, I built this thing quite a few years ago, so it has gone through the ringer. It even went from a ship all the way from Japan to Ireland, which took it 3 whole months. So it's lived a bit of a difficult life and has powered through it like nobody's business. So this right here is what the kit is like out of box with no extra effort. I will mention that one of the V-fins up there has a bit of the tip snapped off. That's why one is shorter than the other. I just found the tip of one of the yellow ones recently, so that's glued on. You might have noticed that. But besides that, this thing has taken a beating and come out on top. All I've done on this is a little bit of panel lining on the face there, just to bring out some of those small hidden details. But besides that, all in all, this thing is beautiful. So the first thing that always pops into my mind when talking about a perfect grade is the size. This thing is quite big, and there is it up on the shelf for that shelf presence test. Without a doubt, when you get yourself a perfect grade, it's gonna definitely draw that attention. It's big, it's awesome, and in general, will dwarf the majority of your collection. So before I mention anything else about this right here, I will mention that when you buy the Perfect Grade Strike, I will also mention that I was super lucky when I got this. I got it for 7,500 yen, which is next to nothing. But when you do get this kit, it does not come with any of the Striker packs. And what I mean by that is you don't even get the standard Isle Striker pack with this. That is sold separately with the Perfect Grade Skygrasper. Also, while we're on the topic of size, let's do a bit of a size comparison with a bunch of standard size Gundams. First off, there it is side by side with a high grade, or should I say 2 high grades. That is the high grade Narrative Gundam as well as the high grade Zaku from Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. Those are just randomly chosen. First, high grades I saw. As for a comparison with some master grades, there is the standard Granddaddy 3.0, that is your standard size master grade, and there is a big master grade, which is the Sazabi Verka. So as you can see, even against something as colossal as the Sazabi, it's still pretty big. And of course, for some actual strike size comparisons, there it is side by side with the real grade 1/44th scale I'll Strike Gundam, as well as the master grade I'll Strike Gundam version RM. As for some size comparisons, there it is side by side with the not so awesome 007 sword. This is a perfect grade I don't necessarily recommend. It's got some weird spring-loaded joints that aren't awesome. And there it is side by side with the absolutely awesome perfect grade Unicorn and the absolutely awesome perfect grade Exia lighting mode. Both of which absolutely awesome, but with big old price tags. But as for the actual aesthetics of this bot, I do love it. For a big bot, it doesn't have much in the lines of panel lining opportunities on here, but it is very anime accurate. Of course, the newer version that is coming out in February does have a little bit more surface detail, and I'm assuming the expansion pack will include those extra armor parts, but as of yet, I'm not sure. But if this does look a little bit on the plain side to you, we do have a whole bunch of opening panels on this, on the shoulders, around the back of the arms, on the legs. We do have a full-on opening cockpit with that 1/60th scale Kira Yamato. So with all of this opened up, suddenly it does look a whole lot more interesting. As for the last aesthetic aspect I'll mention about this does have a built-in LED in the lights, but for some reason Bandai keeps on changing the different kinds of batteries that it uses for different electrical aspects of their kits. So this required this particular battery right here, which is a 3V. I do not have any here. I thought I had every kind of button battery that existed, but I don't have this one. So sadly I can't actually show you what that looks like with the lights on, but here it is with a mobile phone flashlight shining through its eyes to give you some kind of idea of what it might look like. So if you are thinking of buying this, you do need to grab yourself a battery. All in all, aesthetically this thing looks killer. Up on a shelf it completely dominates. And I've always meant to get the perfect grade Sky Grasper just to finish off that classic I'll Strike look. But even without that, this thing looks phenomenal. I love it. So now moving on to the accessories, and I will mention once again that I've had this thing quite some time, and it has sailed literally halfway across the world, so I am missing one or two things from its full set of accessories. First up, here's an image of everything that should come in the box, and for the most part, all I'm missing is the Kira Yamato. Besides that, we get that beam rifle, the shield, the absolutely huge Grand Slam, and there should be two of these little knives, the Armor Schneiders, but I've only got the one. For some reason, the other one's gone missing somewhere. But at least we still have one, for an example. The first thing I'll mention here is this does have those classic, fully posable, perfect grade hands. These are a lot more robust than the variant that you'd see on master grades. These aren't going to fall apart on you unless you're very abusive. But all in all, these can pose whatever way you want, and these are awesome. As for the first of the weapons, we've got that beam rifle. It does have a movable handle up front that swings side to side. It's all in the one shade of grey. It is very nicely detailed though. And we do have a very light blue clear part in the sight. When this isn't in use and you want to store it on the bot, we've got a flip down section on the butt flap, and we have a flip down little peg on the side of the gun. So once that's down, once the butt flap's down, you can stick it on in there and store it around on the butt flap. The next of the equipment in here is the shield. This is in matching colors to the bot. That's red, yellow, white, and that dark gray. If we flip down this switch right here, you can see that we've got a little clear section that makes a bit of a viewing window. That is pretty awesome. As for moving parts, we've got a lower handle that can flip down and up, slide up and down the length of the shield. We've got a whole bunch of rotating bits up top here. This is for attaching it to the arm, and speaking of which, this attaches in a really cool way. This is nothing like the master grade or real grade. There's a lot of more moving awesome parts to this. I really do love this. So in order to attach this, on the back of the arm you flip up this little section. This part drops down, then all of that mechanism we saw on the rear of the shield clips on into that, and it all closes up for one seriously held on joint. This is pretty rad. These particular sort of mounting points are also up on the shoulders, and these parts have been redundant for quite some time. That is until in February when the new parts come out. So we've been waiting quite a few years for that. Next up in here then we've got this absolutely colossal Grand Slam. This thing is the size of a big old hefty knife and kind of looks like one too with that chromed out blade. As for moving parts, the blade can swing around like this for storage. The handle section can slide up and down like so. We do have those peg holes along the length of the handle. These of course are for attaching it into the hands. And we do have a big old hole in the center of it here, which I can only assume is for doing this, propellering it around your finger like so. But all in all, this thing is massive and awesome. The last thing that we have in here is the pair of armor Schneiders. Like I mentioned before, I've only got the one right here. The other one must have disappeared somewhere between Japan and here, but all in all, these are just small little knives, all in the one color. When you want to store them away, the knife can flip down, and that can be stored in here, in the side skirts. So that is it for the accessories, and everything I showed right here can be stored on the bot, which is something I absolutely love. So there is a quick look at what it will look like up on your shelf with everything loaded onto this thing. Once again, this does not come with an Isle Striker pack or anything like that, but this still makes a massive impression, especially with that Grand Slam. So now moving on to the articulation, and as usual from the head down, and this guy's so big, he's so hard to fit into frame. So first off, we have to check if this guy is rocking that giggity, so yes, indeed he is. Besides that then, there it is looking all the way up, all the way down, so not so bad. There's the side to side tilt, that's pretty good, and the head can rotate all the way around. As for the forward and back at the shoulder, that is very basic. There is that spin all the way around. The shoulder armor can move somewhat independently to the shoulder. Actually, it can move very independently to the shoulder, and there is the arm as far up as it will go, so about parallel to the ground. Next then, we've got full rotation at the upper arm. So I have mentioned all of these opening panel segments earlier on in the review, so I'm not going to go through them all during this particular part, just going to stick with the standard articulation. Next up then, we've got that bend at the elbow. This is a double jointed bend, pretty much perfect, and that does separate out a lot of the armor. Check this out. Back here, that's pretty cool. At the forearm here, we've got a little bit extra of an up and down right here. At the wrist, we've got a ball joint as well as this flexion and extension at the wrist right here. I have mentioned it earlier on, but I will mention it again. All of these fingers are independently articulated, which is absolutely awesome. Just look at that right there. As for the ab crunch, this does have real old school Gundam torso paralysis. So we've got a bit of side to side there. Not much forward and back, but of course, if you do get a striker pack or something, that will add a whole lot of weight on back, so that might just be a good thing. Down to the skirting armor now, and there it is all the way up. We've got a bit of side to side on that ball joint there. This section opens up once again for storing the knives. That part can pop up, flip forward, flip back. All of this in here then is on this extra joint for some extra movement if you want it. Round the back here, we do have a double premium butt flap. Both of these are on ball joints, so not as much movement as we saw on the other skirting armors, but not bad. In the waist then, we do have a locking mechanism here. If you pop this down, that means this joint right here, which is die cast, can swing forward to give you extra leg movement. So there's all the way forward, all the way back, and locked in position. So with that joint all the way to the front, there is that huge kick all the way up to the front. This is impressive. Also, there is that kick out to the back, also looking pretty damn good. And as for the splits on this guy, it has absolutely no issue pulling off that full splits. Next up then, we've got that bend at the knee. Once again, this is double jointed, and this is very, very nice. Look at that. We do have a bunch of moving parts, especially at the knee here. So get in a bit closer for returning that. We can see we've got that splitting thigh armor, this little pistony section right here, and there it is all closing up. Absolutely awesome. So one more time, this time from the other side, so you can see all that awesomeness happening, especially the splitting armor up here, and that definitely is cool. So getting down further now to the ankle, we've got this bit of ankle armor that can pivot up and down like so. Also, one awesome thing about this foot is when it pivots side to side, this whole section of frame moves with it. That is so cool. There it is all the way down. This bit of armor goes up. We've got some moving flaps back here. That's this one, and this one. So once again, there's the foot all the way pointing down and all the way pointing up. Some awesome moving parts in there. Close and close. Lastly, at the foot then, we don't have much of a toe bend down, but we do have a bit of one bending up. So I have to crack this leg off right now and check the functional movement of this leg when the foot is planted on the ground. So first off, bending it all the way to the front with the toes still planted on the ground, and that right there is impressive. Look at that. So that, with that bend at the knee, will net you one hell of a crouch. Let's try that all the way to the back, and there is the bend we have without the foot leaving the ground, so it's okay. And finally, there it is all the way to the outside, which isn't a whole lot, and all the way in, which is pretty good. So obviously the best is to the front. Man, I keep finding more points of movement on this. Check this out, we even have a little bit of a side-to-side wiggle right here. Just a bit. So all in all, this is one of those kits that has that healthy balance between a super solid build and some serious articulation. All in all, you're going to get the vast majority of poses you want from this kit. All I can say is, it's impressive. So that is it for the review, and all I can say is if I gave the perfect grade 007 sword silver tier, without a doubt the perfect grade strike is gold tier. Sure, this is definitely a little bit basic in some aspects compared to some modern perfect grades, but it does what it does absolutely perfectly. The price point is nice and low, and for that price you get one hell of a kit that does everything, and I mean everything right. There's nothing I can fault this kit for whatsoever. So if you're looking to get into perfect grades or you're just looking to expand your gunpla collection, I cannot recommend this kit enough. The only down point I could mention is it doesn't come with a whole lot in the box when it comes to accessories, etc. But once again, that is reflected in the price. There is the perfect grade Sky Grasper with the Isle Strike available separately, and the perfect grade strike parts are coming separately in future. So all in all, on the whole, for what's in this box, definitely gold tier. Highly recommended. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Once again, thanks to Raid for sponsoring this video. And as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. I'll see you next time.